stay conservative, run the ball here on third down.
Here's Richardson. He takes it in for his first NFL touchdown. And Pittman takes it inside the 20, the 10, towards the end zone. Touchdown on 2nd and 28. The Colts capitalize. Richardson to Pittman, 39 yards.
Good evening, Colts fans. It is the crew. We are back on Saturday. And guess what? It's a doubleheader, special episode. We got 2 shows. So since the last time we talked, we are now 1-1, and we are 5-1 the last 6 weeks. And we finally got over the hump and beat Pittsburgh.
Yes, sir.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Feels good.
I've been really up 20 good. Straight hours, but I'm good.
It looks like it, Zach.
Feels great, man. Fucking Pittsburgh has been beating up on us for years, so it's nice to finally get one over them.
Bro, and then we were down 13-0. I was like, well, here we go again.
Literally, here we go again. We were all pissed off in the group chat and everything, and then found a way to flip the game on its head, man.
I think I told y'all at halftime, I can't believe we're winning this game right now. From the way it started, it just looked horrible. And, let's be real. The games we've lost against Pittsburgh over the last 15 years have been stinkers.
Stupid.
Yeah, dude. We gave up like 28 points.
Stinkers.
After half.
I think the one that was the worst was the last time Mitch Trubisky beat us. Or no, Mason Rudolph beat us.
Yeah,
and
we gave up that 28-point lead.
We had Jacoby Brissett.
And he blew his knee out. He blew his knee out at halftime. And Ryan Hoyer.
We were winning. I think we were winning that game.
Hoyer threw 2 touchdowns.
Hoyer the Destroyer.
And then Vinny missed 3 kicks in that game. One of them was 30 yards to win it.
Man, that one I think hurt the most in the most recent time. Like that one hurt the most.
Yeah, that game like ruined the whole season because Jacoby was balling. We were like 5-2, and then he went down, and obviously it went to shit from there.
And then we lost. Then we lost to Miami the next week, and we were supposed to win that game because that was like a Fitzpatrick game. We were supposed to win that game. We got beaten that one too.
But this week, this Saturday, finally beat them. Beat them, move on, create a little separation in the wild card race.
That puts us back up in the 6th seed.
Yep.
No, we're the 7th seed.
Nope, we're the 6th because we have a tiebreaker over Cincinnati.
But they beat us head to head.
Nope, we have a tiebreaker because of conference record.
Fair enough. Wow.
Yeah. So it was weird because there's so many people with the same record. I think right now we might be 7th seed.
Right.
But depending on how games shape out tomorrow, if we still have a bunch of 8 and 6 teams, we will have the tiebreakers on all of them to have the 6th because we have the highest conference record.
Yeah.
At least that's why when the Bengals beat us last week, we were still the 7th seed is because of the conference record.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I have the Detroit and Denver game up right now too.
What's wrong with Gay? I can tell you what's wrong with Gay, but I might get kicked off of YouTube.
I assume he means Matt Gay, of course, our kicker who's in a great form to start the year. And I mean, I don't know what's going on with the guy lately. He's not lacing it like we got.
He just had a baby, man. He's tired.
Yeah.
He's
Maybe
tired,
needs a little
man.
Parental leave or something.
Just had a baby. What, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think he'll shake it off, man. That dude, he's good enough. Like he's in a cold slump.
Leave him alone.
He'll figure it out. He'll figure it out.
He's got a newborn. He's tired. Leave that man alone. All right.
He needs a break.
Jesus.
I mean,
But we're also
that man's trying
to
kick a ball with the baby crying and echoing in his ear. Like he just hears it. It's just there all the time.
the biggest pressure any kicker has. The screaming newborn. Yeah, I mean it hasn't been pretty, but I mean you got to figure a guy that good will figure it out. So hopefully sooner rather than later, though.
Hey, it wasn't a kick that was like, game deciding. So I'm all right with it. Even last week he missed a couple, but even those couple, they're not the reason we lost.
Yeah,
I kept hearing a lot of people saying, well, if Matt Gay made these kicks. No, if Matt Gay made those kicks, then we would have lost 34-20.
Yeah, and I think the Steelers game too. I think it was so necessary because after a game like we had on Sunday, where we just repeatedly got smacked in the mouth and kind of did nothing about it. There was no response. There was no urgency. It just nothing went our way. So we needed a game like today where we did get smacked in the mouth early. We were down 13-0, and we responded by running all over them with our backup running back. So I think that was a huge game for us.
I do want to touch base on that because Nathan said that here too. Trey Sermon and the 4th-string Godson, both dogs, and I agree. Like these dudes came out of nowhere, and as they were realizing that they were having good games, they played even harder and they started running harder and they were running with that confidence. and you could just see it. Like I was upset for boy who Godson, who didn't actually get in the end zone on that touchdown, because I was like, that's a dream touchdown for a running back, right? The extension, get it over the line with the extension, and imagine that being his first touchdown, being that extension type play. Oh yeah, that's. I felt bad when his knee touched. I was like, boy, that would have been a hell of a first touchdown.
I'll say this: shout out to the offensive line for allowing the running backs, Goodson and Trey Sermon to actually be productive, because it all starts up front.
It does, Zach.
The liability in the passing game from Blake Freeland. I mean, TJ Watt's no slouch. So,
not at all.
I ain't mad at that. But his impact in the run game and that offensive line today, when you're able to, run the ball 14 straight plays.
I want to say this.
Touched on it. That's exactly where I was going to go with it.
I do want to say this when we were
what
running,
it's all about.
Every time we dropped back, I kept my eye on TJ. I had my eye on TJ almost that whole time, that matchup. And he wasn't rushing like he normally would.
And shout out to
he was doing a lot of dancing. Blake Freeland was like, I'm not here for that, dude. Like, if you're gonna try and dance with me, then I'm gonna dance with you back.
And Shane shout out to Ogletree too. I know he had a key drop, which I think that ball may have been rifled on him. But Shane had Ogletree lined up behind Freeland pretty much all game as almost like a double team with TJ. All the RPO stuff, all the running stuff. So, I mean, Zach, you kind of hit the nail on the head, man. When he can run the football 14 times in a row, which as a Colts fan and me personally, who hates us coming out and throwing the ball like the Red Rocket, I love seeing us run the ball. And guess what? It eventually won us the game, in my opinion. So,
yeah. And that was something I sent to the chat too while we were watching the game. Is like, dude, this is Colts football. This is like getting behind the line, and then especially doing it to the Steelers, who for decades, for generations, have been known for having a strong front seven. That is Pittsburgh football. Is they're going to smack you at the line of scrimmage or push you behind it, right? So to be able to get the push on them and continuously run that ball down their throats, dude, it was awesome to watch and to beat them in that fashion.
Yeah, man, it's especially against a team who essentially wasn't supposed to have their starters, and then 2 days ago we find out they're going to have their starting defensive guys in there. Yeah. So for Shane to just be prepared, I think to be able to keep TJ Watt pretty much away from the run game and still run it to his side of the field, like TJ just looked like he was on his heels all game when it came to us running the ball.
Yeah, initially I was worried because he blew by Blake early on in the game to get a sack.
Yeah.
And then later on, Blake had a false start. It was almost like he's in his head or whatever. And then that's when we saw that adjustment. We saw Ogletree start to line up next to him behind. I think that was a great adjustment to at least give him a little bit of that help and a little bit of that confidence to take on a superstar like TJ Watt. I mean, you said earlier he's no slouch, but like this guy's one of the best in the game, So for Freeland to be able to hold his own from that point on, after having a little bit of assistance as a rookie, man, excited about this guy moving forward.
I mean, it takes tackles time to get adjusted because TJ Watt is a master of his craft. So you're going to get the speed. You're going to get his first counter, which is probably speed to power. And then you're probably going to get, like his power to speed move. And if you can figure out the timing, you're set. I mean, what I enjoyed out of all of that was the Colts weren't scared to put Blake on an island either. Like even when he didn't have the help, Freeland was still able to say, all right, man, if you want to go, you're going to expose my outside shoulder. I'm going to square my hips and take you all the way outside rather than opening my shoulders up and exposing the middle. So in that aspect, that was good to see because to me that, in my opinion, that's quality coaching, allowing Minshew to step up and navigate the pocket. I also feel like that's something that if we had AR, you don't really have to teach that because AR has that ability and that mobility. But, yeah, huge shout-out to the offensive line. I mean, they played – to me, that's a signature win from the offensive line. That's what I expect every game. Of the season, like regardless of who's out there.
Yeah, that was definitely top tier signature game from the offensive line. I really appreciated what those guys went out there and do, and to go out there and push around TJ Watt, Highsmith, everybody who thought it was like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. To have both those guys back and to go out there and push those guys around like that. I mean, I loved seeing every single bit of that. My bad for coming in here late.
What up? What up?
I also enjoyed seeing Mo Alley Cox get involved offensively. Like,
Yeah,
bro, where has that been all year? Like, you pay him all that money to be a glorified fullback, and he finally, at least today, I felt
almost
like
had
earned
two.
a little-
Yeah, should have had
felt
to.
like earned his
Almost had
money.
two,
Should have
yeah.
had two. Should have had two.
Got some butterfingers on that second one. But yeah, it was good to see him get in the end zone. Shout out to DJ Montgomery too. I believe that's his first NFL touchdown. Definitely his first
Fuck
with
him.
us.
He should have had 2.
He should have had 2 as well. Yeah. And of course, man. I don't know how you dropped the one that he dropped. That was
Yeah,
bad.
but that's a
We were
catch,
all
though,
frustrated.
right? Like, do you have
Up to the point he's got to complete the process though.
ground?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
through the ground.
That's what Gene Steratore said as well. It's like you have to finish it all the way through the ground. And
That was the
he
Calvin
messed
Johnson
up the
rule.
easiest part. Yeah, but he ended up making up for it in a way.
No, that's not the Calvin Johnson rule. The through the ground is the Des Bryant rule.
No, it started with Calvin Johnson though, and they expanded with the Dez
Yeah.
thing because remember Calvin Johnson caught that touchdown, and when he went to go get up, the ball like slipped out of his hands. They said he didn't complete the catch to the ground, and that's when all this bull crap started. Then the catch with Dez, did he make a football move? Is when they started adding stuff to it, and they called that an incompletion because he didn't make a Dez Bryant didn't make a football move, and they called that an incompletion. But yeah, that was maintaining the ball to the ground was the Calvin Johnson crap.
Yeah, in my opinion, that's a terrible rule, but it is what it is.
The Des Bryant one, man, I hate that was called back. It makes me sad every time.
Oh yeah.
Just because even today's rules, like that's a catch.
Matt hates it because it's Aaron Rodgers that won the game. Keep going.
Aaron Rodgers. and then
No,
Aaron
no, I
Rodgers
just
still
say
didn't
that
make the Super Bowl, so it don't matter.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
people used to sit there and think I was a Cowboys fan with how much I would defend it because I was like, I
Facts.
already knew it was going to open a can of worms for everything. I'm like, what are we talking about? Does this define a catch? Hey, bro, you catch the ball, you got it. Like, what are you talking about? I just argued it for forever that it was a catch.
Just
I just thought that was on him. Like when you catch the ball, like when we were talking, Trev, when you catch the ball in that situation, just pull it into your gut and go down.
literally. Yeah,
Don't try and move it to one arm. You ain't trying to make anybody miss. You don't need to do anything. Just get the ball, secure your first touchdown. Treat that like gold.
literally. You already did the hard part, bro. He messed up the part that even I can do is just put it to your chest like that.
Yeah, that's not
It's
the
the
part that
easiest
needs to be
part.
pretty. That part doesn't
Yeah.
need to be pretty.
Just
Just catch it and fall down. Yeah.
I'm also
Just catch
surprised that
Fall on your butt.
Mo Alley Cox, man, only catches touchdowns.
Yeah, nothing else.
For real.
Nothing
That's,
else.
that's what most of our tight ends do. I mean, Granson
Bro,
usually
that's Zach
only gets
Pascal.
yards. Yeah, I was gonna say that Granson usually gets yards, but every other tight end is TDs.
I'll take it.
I guess you
hell.
put Mallory in there.
Bro, it's so wild to me how they do that.
For real. Especially, I mean, it was good to see the utilization of our tight ends. Like we've been asking for that for a while, and it was good to see somebody finally be featured.
Yeah.
And look what it did. Like I kind of feel like it wasn't really our running game until we started using Mo Alley Cox to where it really broke the game open for everything to start working by opening up the middle of the field. Especially after Pittman goes down. I thought it was a wrap. I thought we were cooked after.
No, I was highly encouraged. Pittman goes down and we had answers. Like dudes stepped up.
Right.
Pierce made a play, tight ends made a play. Hell, Trey Sermon even caught the ball. That dude has concrete slabs for hands, and he caught the ball. So, I was just highly encouraged that it wasn't we're force feeding it to Downs or someone else. It was a collective
Spread out.
Yeah, it was a collective community effort and says, yeah, you took away our threat, our one in Pittman, but we're still confident and good enough. We're going to beat you with everyone else. And Indianapolis did that, and it was awesome to see.
And we came out with the adjustments. We made adjustments.
I still wish Minshew would have thrown about 30 more yards.
Yeah. Oh, did you lose your parlay, bro?
Did you miss your parlay?
He only hit
Oh,
like
yeah.
218.
Oh,
Damn.
Yeah,
We're all
I got-
cheering on running the ball, and Matt's just sitting there sour face.
I just
Hey,
needed 30 more yards, bro. Like 30
Well,
more.
I know we be
Why
like,
didn't they throw when Pittsburgh took that timeout, man? If I was Shane, I'd have thrown a deep pass like that last timeout when they're trying to run the ball.
Yeah,
the
that was
clock out
dumb.
at
What
the
do you think
end.
you were going to do? Score 14 points in a minute and
Right.
42 seconds?
I'd have thrown if I'd have Shane, I'd have thrown a deep pass after taking that kneel, and they're like, "Cold timeout."
Fake Neil.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just to smack him a little bit.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, right here, I felt this. Like, boy, when Isaiah McKenzie back there, I don't know if he got benched or what happened to him, or if
Oh,
he was
he's
hurt or
out.
something,
He got hurt.
he got hurt.
Oh, okay. I was about to say I didn't know about him getting hurt because I wasn't him. Haven't checked the didn't
But
check
to
the
be
report,
honest,
but
I mean,
I was like every return, I was like, okay, I'm good with it. I wasn't like just secure the ball. Go ahead, Damon.
but to be honest, man, McKenzie outside the dumb fumbles, he's low key been an asset back there, man. Return kicks and punts.
He's had a couple good ones.
Bro,
Yeah.
I mean, every game he's had like a 15 to 20 yard return.
Yeah, but
you know
I
what
think
mean?
he's too risky, bro. Like,
no,
don't
it's
risk it.
dicey. It's dicey.
Yeah,
It's dicey. Let me be real.
Yeah.
But I know
I'd
we-
rather have the security there for sure. But I think like Josh's shiftiness there, I saw the same thing, man. I was like, yo. And he had one of them. It was a fairly big return. He got to like the 35 or whatever. And then he like threw the ball down like he was frustrated because he knew one
Oh, he had a
more
seam.
shift and he was
Oh,
gone.
Yeah, one more missed
Yeah,
tackle.
He's
out
looking
of there.
for it. Yeah.
I know we've been talking about offense and we're still early in this thing, but bro, our defensive line, Dio is breaking out on us, man.
I said
He-
that.
I
You
know.
said, I
He's
was like, dying.
Quiddy.
I know it's more fun to talk about
Quiddy
offense, more flashy,
pay, in my
bro.
opinion, his days in Indianapolis are numbered because Dio Dangbo.
I've been saying that. I've been
I
saying that.
know we're on our way to like head towards the playoffs, but I've been saying that for a while. That's why I keep pushing up defensive end to be closer to a need because I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on with Quiddy, man. I had him as a breakout player. I thought he could have got to 13
Yeah.
sacks. I thought he was really going to be a guy, and
But
turns
instead
out it
it's
was
his-
Deo.
yeah.
And I mean, I've always thought Deo was a year behind. I remember Matt used to always temper me
got
on this
hurt.
one because I was hoping both of them were going to
Yeah.
come in and do something really good. Obviously, Deo being injured when he came in, so a little bit
Yeah.
behind. But Matt would always be like, yeah, defensive ends are usually a year behind. So you get some that break out, but you get a few that just take a year or two to really get there. And so I thought this was going to be the year for Quiddy. And then obviously Deo was hurt. So I thought next year would have probably been more of a year for him.
Yep.
But Deo has turned it up to another
I
level.
mean, Deo and Ibukam are scary on the outside with Grove
Bro.
and DeForest. In my opinion,
Elite.
Did
yeah,
y'all see
that's
Grover?
elite.
Yeah.
Elite.
Grover PFF grade. If it's not an 80, I don't mess with PFF no more. If it's not an 80, or I'm telling y'all, Grover was busting out screens and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this
Yeah.
is a 340-pound D tackle.
He looked athletic. He looked fast.
And then-
I throw the whole front seven in there too, though, because linebackers came through for us today too. And EJ had the game of his career. I gotta say,
Absolutely.
game of his
Hey.
career.
I wish I could go on the Trenches podcast. I gotta let Z have it, man. He's supposed to have a pick six on that goddamn screen. And
He
slapped-
almost had two.
Yeah, I gotta go let him know, man.
But
wanted-
I will
you
say,
wanted the
though-
ball in the fight. You were supposed to give me that pick six so Shane throw you the ball.
I will say though, that was just encouraging to see. Even though he didn't seal the deal with the pick, it was good to see after Cincinnati killed us with these little screen passes. It was good to see him like make that correction, make that adjustment, and like dive in on these screen and just trust his instincts like he always has and go after that. So
I mean-
he'll get his moving forward.
We
Whoa.
saw today.
Shoot this guy.
What do we got going
I
on?
was about
hold
to
on, I
delete
got
that
you.
right now. Oh, I already deleted it, bro.
Oh,
Should have
all right.
blocked him. Should have.
Yeah, if he comments in here again, we're gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. We ain't having none of that. I was gonna say that. I want to say last week. I was gonna say it in between this week. I think the biggest reason for those screen issues, Trev, I want to say it was EJ Speed being out. That's
could see
where that's where I was literally putting those two, because usually if you look at some of the screenplays, Zaire Franklin, I don't think he has like the instincts of a Shaq Leonard, and I think
He's
he
not
always
fast.
comes behind. But EJ Speed, I felt like he was the guy. Like even if you go back to the Tennessee game where they tried to run those outlet passes, the quick ones
Yeah.
for the running back
Just
or
breaking
the
it up,
screens,
breaking it up.
EJ was right there almost every single time, stopping it for either a loss or like a short gain. So I thought that was big time getting EJ back for some of those screenplays. And obviously Pittsburgh tried to be a copycat and it didn't work for him.
Hey, dude lives up to his name too, man. He's fast as hell getting back there. Go ahead, Damien.
How did Juju look? I missed a lot of the first half. I was out. I didn't get a chance. I know Jones had kind of but I didn't see how
Jones had a rough day for once. Yeah. Jones has been pretty good today.
He's a rookie.
He had a
He's
rough
a rookie.
day. Yeah. That's why I'm like, it's all
good.
But Juju was kind of hit or miss. He didn't get beat as badly as Jones, in my opinion.
Juju was just rusty. Like he missed time, and you could tell. But
he was rusty till they tried to run the ball on him, and old boy decided to hit
he gave
he'll level
I said, who was
that? I was like, that is a big boy at quarterback.
As a matter of fact, it was the first quarter. I remember it was I want to say it was Zaire Franklin who came with Juju on from the outside corner spot, and he came up and hit that boy Najee Harris.
Yeah,
I was like, bro, did he just get smacked by a corner?
That's 6-4.
And then later on,
this is a quarter.
After that wasn't the 1 yard turnover, right? The turnover on downs, because then when they got it on our 1 yard line, and then they ran it the one play, it was 2nd and 8, and then they ran it again. He gained like 2 yards because Juju just stuck old boy, man.
Yeah,
stuck him.
Man, that's my type of corner right there.
Yeah, he's a big boy for a corner.
But
he can hit.
I thought he was rusty, and I thought Jalen Jones had a rough day, but I think it was good for him because also if you listen to like some of the commentators and a lot of what people say, you look at a team like a Pittsburgh or a Cincinnati, they got like,
2-1.
They call these some of the best receiving cores in the league. So for him this kind of day, I think it's good for him to go back and look at the film. You know, when he go back in the offseason and work on everything, he got the speed. He just got to get his technique down. And then obviously when you got those kind of battles, you just want to win a couple, you know, 1 or 2. So
bro, this AFC playoff hunt is insane right now.
Insane.
This is probably one of the better races to the playoffs that we've seen in years.
Ever.
Usually there's already, the first 3 seeds are already locked in because normally the AFC South doesn't clinch the South until week 18 because we're trash.
And there's 4 teams that are already eliminated mathematically, and that's not the case this year.
No.
Nathan,
I don't know what Sam he's talking about.
Like, are we calling it Ellinger? Hell no.
What are we talking about, buddy?
Why? Nathan is asking here. Do you think we see Sam? I'm assuming Sam Ellinger gets a chance to play next week. I would like to know,
on the scout team.
Know why? I would like to know why. I mean, Minshew played a damn good game outside of getting receivers and running back killed on some throws. Minshew played his probably.
He played really well from like the second quarter on. I thought he had a pretty rough start to the game, but he made those adjustments and he really. I
kind of felt that start coming. Like I told you guys, we're gonna be that throw to score, run to win, and Shane is sticking to those guns. And I tell y'all, like I just want to see us open the game and start with a run just once. Yeah. And I don't think we're gonna get that. So
maybe we did with AR. We did with AR. Like when we had AR in there, we were doing something that sexy ass triple option look that we all fell in love with, and then
But see, I think that was AR more comfortability with the run rather than the throw. But I would like to see it at least once or something, but I just don't think we're gonna get it.
Yeah, I think this is a good point to come back to as well, because if I'm not mistaken, we run the most RPO plays in the league. If not the most, it's up there. Like that is our offense. That's Shane's bread and butter.
Dave Stewart is saying here the O-line finally dominated and inserted themselves in the fourth quarter running the ball is what Trev is talking about here. Go ahead, Trev.
No, actually, I was talking about just the RPO plays. I feel like moving forward, I think this is going to be a perfect offense for AR. I think he's going to flourish in this RPO offense. Whereas Gardner, where he's played well, it's still like he's kind of an awkward fit in this offense. It's like we've never really – I said this at the beginning of the game too. We've never really adjusted the offense to Gardner's strengths, but that might be a positive moving forward because we have this RPO offense set in place, and now we can just – implement AR in this, and it's just going to be for all the better. So that's something to look out for moving forward. But yeah, Dave says, offensive line finally dominated and asserted themselves in the fourth, running the ball. Man, that got us all fucking
It was
hyped.
beautiful. It was beautiful. It was like watching an artist paint the most beautiful picture you could think of. That's what I felt like running the ball, especially on the Pittsburgh Steelers, man.
Smack them in the
15
mouth.
years. It's been 15 years. I can't even tell y'all I was so hyped to get this win, man. Oh man,
Dude, and even we had the third and fourth, and one of the commentators said, "Surely you don't run it here, right? Like you got to pass here." He's like, "Well, if they haven't stopped you yet," and sure enough, they handed off to Trey Sermon. He goes right up the gut for 5 yards. I'm like, dude, this is the offense I came to see, especially against Pittsburgh.
Man, for real, couldn't have had a better day. But honestly, I want to say I don't know if y'all been hearing the whole the Cam Newton conversation that's been going on with the game managers versus game changers comment. I think that's what our offense truly has right now. What we're seeing the difference is you're seeing true game manager in Gardner Minshew versus Anthony Richardson, who is a game changer. And I think his ability is going to make it a lot different for us. And I also think that this goes back to the QB guru. What's his name, Zach? What's the
JT O'Sullivan?
Yeah, JT O'Sullivan. Yeah. He said, what we need to do at this point, seeing what Anthony Richardson has been able to do, we need to take the training wheels off. We don't need to have the RPO game being the base of our offense anymore. We can start trying to build out of that, kind of like what we run with Minshew. I mean, it is still a lot of RPO based, but we can get to a point where you can let him quarterback the system, and he's going to make a bunch of plays and stuff like that. So I think we have that true situation there for the game manager.
I think Shane's offense is kind of the RPO where it gets different. Where it gets different is his run game and the play action pass that comes off of it. So like RPO is going to be there, but I just don't want to be like Wentz, where when Wentz was quarterback, that's all we ran was the RPO.
Everything on a shotgun.
Yeah, everything on it. Like as long as we keep the variety
mixture.
Yeah,
I feel like
he's
still done a good job of that, I believe.
But I do want to push AR to make more full reads, some progression reads, because it's time. Like we've only saw him for 5 games, but we need to know what he's capable of because I don't want to waste any more time.
So I think it's important to note too, though, like although we haven't seen him since week 5. Playing, like he's still in the facility, you know what I mean? He's still learning, he's still in the QB room, he's still studying. So I think mentally, like this might be, he's not getting the in-game reps, so I don't want to say it's better for him, but he is still getting these mental reps and he's still getting to study and he's still learning the system. So like next year, I agree. Yeah, training wheels are off, man. Like he should hit the field ready to go. At this point, it's just waiting on his injuries to heal and like physically ready. But mentally, like this dude should be just as secured as any other quarterback in year 2.
So I somewhat disagree. And the reason I somewhat disagree is because even though you're there mentally, especially after getting a throwing shoulder surgery, now you have to put what you learned mentally and you got to connect it physically.
Sure.
So especially when you just got throwing shoulder surgery. So at the same time, I agree. I think mentally he should be good to go training.
I just mean like system wise, right?
Yeah, but then physically, when it comes to making those throws in game is a lot different than seeing it on film, and so I don't think training wheels are going to be fully on because I don't think they were this year. So I don't really think they're going to be on next year either. I think it's just a matter of building his confidence and making him comfortable in making the throws that he's seeing, and understanding and how to read those coverages that he's going to see, because it's easy to see it on film and easy to see how Gardner's doing it, but then coming in and doing it yourself is a totally different thing.
Right.
The way I see it, as long as he can continue to consistently rip the seam and hit the seam route like he's been doing, everything else from there is easy. If he can find the seams in the defense, rip the seams open, everything else beyond that is second nature, and it all develops from there.
I agree. I saw the question about who we're rooting for, Lions or Broncos. I think that's
go Lions.
You always want the NFC team.
Yeah.
Keeping AFC
especially as we mentioned with how close this playoff race is in the AFC. Like we need Denver to go down, man. Congrats to them for their comeback and Russ looking like himself again. But We want to make the playoffs. Go to hell.
I know I want to make a comment back with Dave Stewart brought up Nick Cross. And the reason I did want to talk more about Nick Cross because earlier in the season, everybody was questioning Nick Cross. We
were cussing Bradley.
Well, yeah, because everybody was wondering where Nick Cross was. Why is he not getting this amount of snaps? And then Bradley just kept saying, "Oh, well, he's just not fully ready yet. He's not fully ready yet." And this dude's been falling
right.
weeks.
But I also feel like Ballard set him up with the whole, we moved up. He's going to be a stud. And then he struggled last year, his rookie year. And then this year we're all expecting like a breakout year. We're all thought for sure he was going to start, and we're going to have Cross and Blackman. And then the emergence of Rodney Thomas, essentially.
Cross is here.
I don't know because I kind of feel like Blackman can do both, like of what Rodney Thomas can give you. Sure. And I feel like he's better in coverage and not a complete and total liability in the back end, where like Rodney Thomas gives you good, Blackman gives you better, and you can still play Cross and get that development because he, in my opinion, we see it spinning.
Here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. When I watch tape, I don't see shit about Rodney Thomas as much as I see about Nick Cross on tape.
Well, I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing.
So here's what I'm thinking. When it comes to the safeties, you play your two best safeties,
which is Blackman and Cross.
Blackman and Cross.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Thomas is the guy that should be on a rotational situation. Because
I think
Nick Cross is just balling.
Yeah, I think Thomas has gotten the I don't know if to say like benefit of the doubt or like maybe more snaps than he should have because he's multiple times he's come up in those big moments and made picks. But it's like it's like safe. the rest
he's
of the
safe.
game. Well, hear me out. Like the rest of the game is like, what is he really doing? But in those big moments, it almost makes him look better than he might be because he's able to make that play. He agree. He's a playmaker. But it's got to be the whole game, right? So, and I think that's what we're looking for between Cross and Thomas. And lately, I agree, Cross has had the edge. Go ahead.
And
David.
I would even say these last 4 games have been probably Thomas's worst stretch. If we're talking about, how many times have we got beat deep the last 3 or 4 weeks on stupid stuff, simple miscommunication in the back?
He got exposed versus New Orleans.
It was bad.
If you watched that film, that was awful. New Orleans beat him like a drum.
I'll raise my hand and say that we went after Tony Brown super bad, but he had 0 help over the top.
Yeah.
How are you playing deep thirds and you have no help over the top? With a safety that's supposed to play center field. But tough. I think Cross is now going to give us that edge that we've kind of been looking for on the back end with Blackman. So I don't know. I think we're going to see more of him as it continues. And you've seen Gus ramp it up over the last couple weeks.
I think Nick Cross has an interception in each of the last 3 games.
2 for sure. Did he have one last week?
I don't know if he. I don't know if it was true. I thought he had a fumble recovery or something. He had some kind of play.
I know he's had turnovers. I think he's had turnovers in the last 3 weeks at least.
Yeah, he has. Nathan, what are you talking about with Sam needs game reps? Are you talking about Sam Ehlinger needs a?
He don't need no reps, man. You gotta let Sam go, bro. You gotta let Sam be a free bird. He loving that QB3 spot. He collecting his check. He'd be all right.
Why are we trying to develop Sam?
Yeah.
We're
getting
franchise
Jefferson. KJ Jefferson is going to be our UDFA this year. Going to be our new backup. Just watch.
He just hit the portal.
Oh, he's staying another year.
He just hit the portal.
Oh my God! 7-year quarterback.
He's going to be like a 37-year-old rookie, man. Like
Sam Hartman 2.0.
He about to be Brandon Whedon, 28 years old.
That guy's like 6'7", 260.
Fucking Stetson Bennett, dude.
But what I was gonna say about Rodney Thomas is because I had told you guys I was expecting him to break out, and I had told you guys weeks ago,
Me too.
I wasn't impressed with how he's been, because I was expecting more splashes. I think that's what got Rodney Thomas the pass, because if you look at all of our safeties last year, I think that Rodney Thomas got the pass because of his, I think it was 4 or 5 interceptions that he had. We were expecting him to become even better in coverage. We expected him to become like Kevin Byard down in Tennessee, becoming one of those guys where you're just not throwing in his area at all. Or
Philadelphia.
That's gone. Now Philadelphia, even though he's losing.
They got everybody.
But Yeah, so that's why I think that Rodney Thomas had got more so in the past. But I think that Julian Blackman, I mean, he's played up himself so much
I think
that
we just lost.
Ballard has to make a decision there on what they're going to do. And then as far as Cross and Thomas, depends on how you're going to.
We're losing you, DeMarco.
Those two losing me. Can you hear me?
I still got you.
I got you now. I got you now. We're good.
Yeah, so I would say to be Cross and Thomas competing, and then Gus Bradley has to get off of this who he can trust thing, and he needs to start thinking of who's communicating more, who's making sure that they're in the right spot, they're on their keys at all times, and figure out who to play versus not who he thinks he can trust, because that's where a lot of our miscues come from, when there's miscommunications from guys being on the field that probably shouldn't have been there. But I definitely haven't seen what I thought I would see from Rodney Thomas, and I've always thought that Nick Cross was going to be a dog, and I just want to see him play.
Well, and I want to go back a little bit too, because Zach, I believe you had said Ballard like almost set him up by saying like, "Oh, he's a stud."
Yeah, I feel like Ballard really hurt Cross last year.
I hear you,
because he was all like, "Oh, he's going to be great," and then he ended up being like a bum and got unnecessary heat because he was a rookie and like played out of position. And so it takes rookies a minute.
Yeah, I think what happens is like we hear he's going to be great from Ballard, and we're like, oh, this guy's fucking rookie of the year material. Like he's going to be an all pro like right away. Realistically, like what Ballard has been doing really well. I mean, you think Zaire, you think EJ, you think Deo, you think now
Jalen Jones,
all these guys, right? Like it takes a while for them to get to that level where they are great. And he's right about them, but I think his gonna be is like a couple years. And for us, we're like, all right, he's been here for 4 weeks. Like, why isn't this guy a fucking MVP candidate? Right? You know what I mean?
I'm aware. I just saw, local media radio, obviously here in Indy,
took off with it,
ripping him apart. And I was like, yo, some of this stuff is unearned. Like,
you gotta give the guy
hate
a chance.
He gets is unearned, right? So
I also think some of that is just because people don't know football. I think the problem is like they sit here and go the whole time, "Hey, you're a guy that Ballard traded up for." Thank you, Matt. That's all those people that don't know football.
Yeah, shout out Greg Doyle.
But yeah, it's like people say, "Oh, well, Ballard traded up for you and whatnot." And it's like, bro, he traded like a 4th round pick for a 3rd round pick. Yeah, it's not like the biggest deal in the world. Like you guys are acting like he traded from the next year's 1st round pick to come into this year's first.
Yeah, bro.
And so it's just one of those situations where obviously you got to understand the guy's young and he's going to make mistakes. I think it's a situation where Gus Bradley sees it as, hey, if I don't have the right guy on the field, then my job is on the line. So I think that's where that move kind of shifted, because you can't look over at your head coach and just be like, just let him work. He'll get it. Like, yo, the head coach,
he's getting smoked.
Yeah, your head coach ain't going for that. So I think that's just a situation where that comes from.
I want to comment on this. I don't understand why everybody's sleeping on Atlanta's defense. Atlanta's second in their division.
Tough.
Their defense is good.
Tough.
This team, I mean, yeah, Ritter's not that great. He's gonna make his mistakes, but don't sleep on them, bro. Like, they're a team that everybody thinks we're just going to go in and we're just going to whoop them. I don't think we are, bro. This is going to be a 4-quarter game, and we're going to be frustrated as fans.
It's a street fight, without a doubt. But I do think Indianapolis will hold Pittman out because for precautionary reasons, because they've done it with any other person who's had a concussion. Like they usually make them,
Cox.
Right, except for Mo. They've usually made them sit out the next game just to be safe. However, with Pittman being who he is, I still think if he's capable to go and clear concussion protocol, he'll play. I want to go back for a second now that I have the floor. We talked about, I think DeMarco made a comment about like the players Bradley needs to play the best 11 regardless of who we trust. How about Bradley needs to, in my opinion, add more to the scheme, because what the scheme is still pretty basic, and put more on the players' plates, because I think he has players who can handle it.
I actually disagree. And this is what I hate about Gus. I don't think he needs to play more into the scheme. I think what he needs to learn how to do is play better against the matchups.
That's fair. That's fair. He just. I feel like he's not doing enough.
At least on the back end, right? Because up front, I have no complaints about up front. None from linebackers forward, but on the back end, we don't play to the matchups. Ever.
No, we're straight country cover 3, or we play cover 6.
Right. We don't play to the strength of, well, this is how we can stop Pickens. Like the only corner who does that is Kenny Moore, and that's because of his veteran experience. But for some reason, these other corners aren't feeding off of that and learning how to beat their matchup.
So let me ask you then, if like you said, it's a very simple scheme overall, right? How much of that do you think is because everyone in our secondary is either like I think the guy that's been there the longest in the secondary, other than Kenny, is Julian, right? For 3 years, everyone else is either a rookie or a sophomore. So like, how much of that is just because of inexperience, right? Like if you don't want to throw too much of that,
I truly think it's got everything to do with it. I mean, you're not going to do that with guys like Isaiah Rodgers or Dallas Flowers, right? If you had both those guys, I'm pretty sure we'd be playing a whole lot more to where Isaiah is going to play more man up.
I think Shane wants to play more press man. Like, I always get the vibe that the Colts want to play more press man. That's why they get the big corner.
No, so I think simplicity is at its finest with his scheme. So if you think back to the way he played with Seattle, that's the defense that he wants to play. He wants to have 4 down linemen that can get after the quarterback.
And
he's going to have two smart linebackers that can play, can tackle. And then he's going to run that cover 3 like he had with Richard Sherman and Browner and Thomas and what was that?
Chancellor.
Cam.
But see, my issue with that is you can't do that when you have a team like ours. Ours ain't built like that. I mean, we've got the front, we've got the front 7, but we don't have the back end for that. I mean, Richard Sherman, he wasn't the fastest corner, but he's probably the smartest corner I've seen play the game. That dude was a genius when it came to knowing the route tree, knowing how to play the route tree, knowing how to trick you as a receiver and make you think he's doing something else. And then he had 2 of the best safeties behind him, and we just don't have that. So to me, I feel like if I'm Gus Bradley, I'm trying to play to the matchup.
Matt, I get what you're saying, but I think that's what really helps where with Shane coming in this past season, because if you notice, I don't think we've drafted very many players that you would say fit Gus's scheme.
I agree.
If you look at Jalen Jones and Juju Brents, them are the perfect 2 type of the tall, lengthy corners
who are fast.
Who are fast outside of Juju. He's not necessarily fast, but he has the short space quickness, and he's smart.
He's got a long wingspan too,
exactly.
He
ain't got to be fast.
He's the Richard Sherman in that situation. So I think that this is the first year that he might have actually stepped up to say, "Hey, Chris, I'd like these guys for my scheme," because I think he's still thinking like the old school type of coach. I'm not going to scheme around what type of players I have. I want the type of players I have to fit my scheme. And I think that's still what he goes off of, because if you look, we still play the same way that those Seattle teams play, where they give up a lot of that space and just play that cover 3, and you're expecting to get after the quarterback and then not give up very many points. Hell, Seattle, this is what they averaged in their winning days, 30-13 when they were winning games. And it was literally looked how they played outside of some plays from receivers and whatnot. So I kind of think that's where they're at. So I don't know if we'll ever see any advancement in the scheme, but I will say, though, the difference I do see with us versus what he did back in Seattle is a lot more mix in that front 7. So it's happened over the last 6 weeks. It wasn't early on in the season, but I felt like that front 7 looked a bit different. He'll send maybe a blitz or more to a game, but I think that has been the biggest difference. But I don't know how much.
Shout out to Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton torching that defense.
I was hoping someone to bring it up.
I was just about to say that's why they should have went at Deontay Johnson all day, because that's the T.Y. Hilton and would have been in the Pittsburgh Steelers scheme, but their quarterback sucks. So I mean, ain't really.
To me, that's my biggest gripe defensively. They just don't do anything in the back end. They don't hide any coverage. You know what it is. You know you're getting straight man with 3 deep underneath country cover 3, or you're getting a cover 6 where nobody moves and you know where people are standing.
I don't mind a
And-
cover 6, but I only like a cover 6 on a short field. I don't like cover
Me
6
too.
when the field is,
We run it at the 50-yard line.
Yeah, no, that's dumb. I don't like that. I like it.
Had I do with 3/3 of the zone. He's back there like,
You
hey
see
bro,
what
I
I'm
got 2 receivers.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
man.
if they're in the red zone, sure, I'm calling cover 6.
I think that's
3
why
downs,
Rodney
but-
Thomas did work a lot last year because that cover 6 with his range. If you got the range
just
for it,
Bothers
you
me.
can-
That's my only gripe.
Yeah.
Like,
Dave,
like Matt said, you want to keep it short.
I haven't seen anything as of yet. on any
They
of
called
his-
it an arm.
Yeah.
So
I think
hopefully
if
it's
he
not
brings
broken
home-
again. Hopefully it's not. I
It
think
did- it didn't
he
seem
missed
like
3
that.
weeks. He missed 3 weeks, right? He had the first one.
The
He was
last
at a month.
time?
preseason.
Yeah, because he missed week 1 and then he was good to
He
go
was like
from there.
9 weeks.
Well, hopefully we get JT back because
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Like I think our backs did a very good job of finishing out that game, but I think that was more put on the offensive line. But I can't forget about somebody who's had a pass like Trey Sermon. Dude fumbled a lot. That's what got him
Yeah.
cut and filled. So I mean, I don't want to be cringing every time he run the ball. So
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
you know,
I do like Tyler Goodson or whatever his name is. Gooden? I don't even
Yeah.
know.
Goodson.
Goodson.
We had We had a
Practice
comment
squad this week.
earlier from Jordan. He said, if I can find it again. Oh yeah, he said
He's
he
from
saw him for
Iowa.
years at Iowa.
Yeah.
Dude gets his shoulders square and runs. Dude,
He's
this
a
guy
one-cut
runs like
runner.
he
Yeah.
runs angry downfield. Like I was watching him, I
Yeah.
was almost like, dude, this looks like freaking Isaiah Pacheco or something, dude. Like he just
I mean,
putting
he
the
looks
ground
nice.
just
Yep.
spearing forward. Yeah,
I was going to bring that up too while you're on it, Trev. So because remember we signed like 3 or 4 guys this week.
Mhm.
We made a lot of moves.
Yep.
So I went and looked, and a lot of those guys were guys from the local Indy Pro Day. So
Oh, wow.
Goodson being one of them, and then that receiver that we signed that went to UCLA as well. That's another guy that was at. And when I was looking at both of them, they didn't have a crazy amount of college snaps either. Like
Well,
so,
Goodson was an Iowa and split carries. Like,
yes,
that's why I'm
Sermon.
amazed. Yeah, well, Sermon was a dog at Ohio
He was a
State.
backup.
State.
He was a backup to Dobbins. You know what I mean? Which he averaged like. oh my
Was he
goodness.
back up to Dobbins?
Yeah. Yep.
They
Yep,
they
just-
split, but I remember him being a higher profile there at least.
He
I thought
he was a higher
high
profile
pick.
because he was the top running back coming out of high school. He was
There
like a
it is.
5-star,
Yeah.
but he ended up averaging like I think 6 or 7 yards a carry in college. But Dobbins beat him out for the one. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
Right.
he was taken in the 3rd round, I think, from San Francisco. Yeah, and they got
Yeah.
cut.
Trey Sermon, I think he's pretty good, man. I like the way he runs. Obviously, I don't like his lateral movement. I think he moves
slow.
Like, he moves like Najee Harris when he moves side to side. I
Yeah,
need him to
why
get
is-
downhill immediately.
I was gonna
he looked like he
ask
running
you
in slow
that.
motion. Yeah,
Why is
it's
Najee
more-
Harris so slow laterally? Like, what happened?
is because they don't have that short area quickness. I mean, it's just like Derrick Henry. That's why Derrick Henry, they always try and get him on an edge and run
Yeah.
around to then get up to top speed. You want them big backs to have that space because they don't have that.
Dude, he didn't
the
look like that
quickness to
slow
move
at
around you.
Alabama though either. Like, he looks slower
That's
College
because
now
NFL.
than he did
that's
at
because
Bama.
that's because that talent, the
College
speed,
to NFL
the
speed.
the quickness, all of that is a huge gap. I mean, you
Look at
go
Mark
from
Ingram.
college to the NFL.
Right.
it's just one of those things where it looks completely different. But
I mean,
yeah, I mean, I thought he was moving pretty well, but I want to see him get north and south. I don't want him moving side to side.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have somebody moving side to side, keep that to Goodson.
This is something that just with Goodson, just going back to him, I don't know if this was just like a flash in the pan, like O-line was playing well, so he got yards, but just the way that he looked, if we can see
like
more
him.
of this out of him,
I
I
like
would,
him.
yeah, I would be comfortable with letting Moss walk, keep JT
Yeah.
obviously, and then
we got
run
Hall.
Goodson as RB2 and Hull getting healthy as well. Yeah, he looked good
Right.
early on in the season before he was injured.
right.
I think those three, I think that's a solid core. Obviously, JT gets 75-80% of the snaps, and then the other two split the last 20. But I'd be fine with that.
I'd be careful, man. Looking at some of these guys like Brown from Cincinnati. What's
There's a
his
bunch
name?
of- there's a
Well,
bunch
yeah,
of-
I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all.
Ty Chandler from Minnesota,
Yeah,
or the other guy. I mean, I think it's some kids that's coming out in some of these future drafts that we may
Yeah,
even
problems.
be able to grab one of them guys that just are absolutely game changers, and they only
Oregon's
have
got
to
a
be
running
two
back
back.
that I want Indianapolis
Yeah.
to go out and get.
Bro,
Yeah,
I'm not against that at all, right? I'm just looking at the guys that we have on the roster. I would feel comfortable running it with JT and those two young dudes. I'd be good with that. At least with
Yeah,
how
I'm
they
not-
play today.
I'm not mad at it. I like the way Goodson runs.
I
He
do too.
I need to
I like
see
guys
more
with-
though.
I like some guys with some shifty, good movement. I don't like
this-
guys that really look too big and slow. That's why I've never really been a Najee Harris fan. So I
And
like
this
the way
is the kind of
Goodson
stuff you
runs.
need. You need this kind of breakouts from skill positions like a receiver and running back at this time of the season when teams are naturally going to be banged
Yeah.
up. And I
You
was
gotta
thinking
find
about
the
today,
answer in your locker room.
You do, because we don't have time at this point in the season to go backtrack, and try to find stuff. So, hey, shout out to Ballard. Like I said, a lot of these guys were guys from the local pro day that we did. We hosted in Indy. So,
Right.
I mean, shout out to Ballard.
Won the game today, yeah.
Won us the game today, flat out. But no, it's good to see. And by the way, give me Audric Estime. Thank you.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, did he
I'd take it
go?
like that.
He
That
kind of
dude.
reminds me of Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's going to transfer to the pro level because he's not going to be
Yeah,
able
I
to run
don't-
over people the
Bro,
same
he's
way
like
he does in Notre
6'5".
Dame. But
Yeah, that's
I
not
mean-
good for a running back.
he's a
It's
monster.
not.
Eddie
bro.
He's a monster, man.
He's a monster.
Yeah, I just
If
I don't
if
know,
he
man.
works out
like
in the league, it's going to be fun.
you got the few that work out. You got the
Yeah.
Earl Campbell, you got the
Right.
Derrick Henry, you
Brandon
got
Jacobs.
The,
Hey,
not always.
Brandon
I
Jacobs,
agree.
you got the Eric Dickerson. You get some of those big guys that
He's
work
like
out.
an elk when
And
he
then-
runs straight up though.
He's-
Like
he's
gonna get
upright.
Yeah,
like
that's what
Derrick
I'm
Henry.
saying.
Like Derrick
You
Henry.
got-
He's
no,
gonna get
not like Derrick Henry,
clean,
like
though.
Najee Harris. That's what I'm saying.
That's
So
that's
if-
the fear.
If
yeah.
dude, if he can run a 4.4 or under, then
He
No
won't.
okay.
way.
But yeah, see, nah, bro. If
You're
he
gonna get a
if-
4.6.
yeah, but he's
if
going to have
he-
4 guys on his back while he does it. Like,
yeah, for 2 yards when you need
yeah.
eight.
I'm with you. I'm with you. He's
Yeah,
but,
but I
man,
just-
he's fun
I
to
don't know.
watch.
Say, he's like
Hey, if
Notre
you
Dame.
look-
He's like-
I did want to. I know
Brown,
Matt,
you
Matt,
gotta
Matt
take
pulled
him.
up this comment about the playoffs. I did want to comment real quick on the Pittman situation. I don't necessarily think he may miss a week, just knowing who Pittman is and the way that he walked off the field. He didn't necessarily look like he was done. I think it was just more Indianapolis being cautious with their players. I guarantee you, if it was up to Pittman, he would have came back in that game. He
Yeah.
did not look like he was in too bad a shape. Obviously, the practice week will tell us. I'd rather he not play if he's going to be in danger or anything like that. But
right.
I'm like 95% certain that Pittman will play this upcoming week, and Gardner will definitely be more careful about where he's putting those passes.
Yeah, a hit like that will scare the shit out of you. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you have to be hurt, but when you're running your full speed and you come to a complete stop at
Bro.
the drop of a dime,
You take a shoulder to the neck.
you start thinking about things in your head like, "Oh, what just happened?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And I think Pitt's that both physically and mentally tough enough to handle, and like he seemed fine. I agree. I think us as fans, at least myself, were more worried than he was because he just kind of got up, dusted himself off, and he was like, "All right, let me go get checked." But that was a scary hit for
than
sure,
what it
man.
was.
Yeah, I think so, dude. I was telling you guys before the show, I was like, I was worried for a moment there, like when he didn't move at first. I was like, this could be either knocked out cold or,
Yeah.
God forbid, like a neck injury or something. Like
He
it
went
did not look
night-night.
good for a minute there.
well, then
But-
the throw after that, I mean, Minka
Pierce.
Fitzpatrick and that other corner went legit knee to knee at full
Yeah.
speed. Now that
Yeah.
looked painful.
Nika
And that was-
popped
that was
his
almost a-
MCL.
He
That was
did.
almost a hospital pass for Alec Pierce too,
Pretty-
man. Like,
I'm pretty sure that's what he was out of the game for with his MCL. They think he popped his knee. You know,
that sucks. If that's what happened, man. He's a baller.
Yeah, so Minshew better be careful where he's putting it, or guys ain't gonna lay out for those passes no more, and then you're just gonna either have interceptions or just incompletions that kill drives. So he gotta watch it.
Yeah, and once again, just looking forward to Atlanta. I know their record isn't the greatest, but I mean that is a tough, especially defensively. You're talking about AJ Terrell. You're talking about
They got one of the best secondaries in the league.
yeah, bro. The
Talking
safety,
about both corners, safeties.
the safety they got from Cincinnati. God, what's his
Jesse
name?
Bates.
Thank you, Jesse Bates. That he's a freak. Like they have players all over the field that can be problem makers, that can be playmakers for them. So
Offensively
it's-
too.
Yeah, offensively they have all the weapons in the world.
Drake
They just
London,
don't have
bro.
a quarterback that can
Kyle
get it to him.
Pitts.
We should already know Bijan gonna have a career day.
Out the backfield, catching the ball probably.
Yeah, they don't
the
run
ball.
him. He's not ran in Atlanta. They let Tyler Algiera or whatever the hell his name is from BYU run the rock with him.
Well, people
They don't
forget
even-
he was a 1,000-yard back the year before. That's
they
their
don't
only.
even-
Yeah, I was talking about trading for Algier early in the season.
Why would you go and
They
draft?
use him as like use him as like a red zone threat now.
They don't
which,
even
I mean,
use
he's
him in
good
the
at,
red
but-
zone.
Oh, really?
He don't
I
even
know,
get
like early
touches
in the year, that's
red
what they were
zone.
doing. Hey,
that.
man.
That made
Bro,
no
they
sense
draft
to me.
him- Draft him top 10 and don't even use him.
That's crazy. Hopefully they
There we
keep doing that though and
go.
keep not using their weapons. As Detroit goes up 2 scores here in the Denver game,
All
it's
right.
good for us.
So I wanted to
But,
talk about this. I want to talk about
yeah.
this because I'm going to say this to Colts fans. So this year was a developmental year, right? All we thought about was who we were going to figure out, who was going to come back next year, who we were going to extend, what coaches Shane wanted to keep, what players fit his scheme, what players fit Gus Bradley's scheme. And if we make the playoffs on a year like that, where we lost our rookie quarterback and we have Gardner Minshew playing, he's won more games in a season this year than he has in his entire career. I'd be okay with going into the wild card and losing.
Talk
be
to him,
fine.
Matt.
I'm
be
all right
fine.
with it. I see. So I get it. A win is a win. Holy cow, you're worried about the playoffs. I'm not worried about it because just being there, I will be so excited. And if I still drank alcohol, I would get so lit. I'll get lit
Hey,
off
we
of
made
water
it,
and
bro. We
Celsius.
made it.
All right, but I'll be hyped just to be in the playoffs. And if we win a game, bro, I'm streaking
Dude.
somewhere.
I'm talking shit
We
to
are
everybody.
playing, like Matt just said, not worry about it because I've been doing this. This meant we are playing with house money.
Yeah.
House money. I told
like that.
everybody early on in the offseason that if everything goes perfect, which it has not, we are
At
an
all.
8-win team if it went perfect with Anthony Richardson. So the fact that we can get to 8 wins with a
Facts.
backup quarterback,
Facts.
our
seventh
number
rounder, a
three,
sixth
our
rounder
number
corner.
3 tailbacks, our practice squad 8th string corners. Like I'm talking about everything. Losing Grover Stewart for 6 games.
Yeah.
Cutting Darius
Like
Leonard.
I mean,
Shaq's gone.
cutting Shaq. I mean, everything that this team has been through, we are playing with absolute house money. If we make the
Yeah.
playoffs, this should tell everything the Colts fans to be happy about our future. Obviously, we need a little luck because our luck has been terrible as far as injuries and everything else that goes on with us. But as far as just what we
We've
can see
made
right
the
now,
right
what we
moves.
have, what we have with Steichen and the guys that we have in this building, because most of us wanted to cut everybody and rebuild. Like we are playing with house money.
This is literally why I keep asking everybody why they keep begging for Sam. Listen, you get it. Gardner, you don't know what you're going to get on every given play. But if you look back at this season, so far, out of 15 games, he's won 8 of them.
And we're undefeated when the Colts have to leave at halftime.
Yeah.
So
And-
Not lost.
you got to leave the man alone. He's putting the ball in places he shouldn't. We get it. He's making throws that he shouldn't. He dances around a little bit too much. But at the same time, if we're 8-6, depending on how tomorrow's goes, we're 6
It's working.
seed. I'm fine, man. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
He's not our starting quarterback.
And
He's
I-
not our franchise quarterback. We got to get that out of our head. This is
Yeah.
simply him willing us into this position at this point.
That's
This
that's
is
all it
Shane.
is.
This is
Shane,
Shane and the
Shane.
coaching staff
Shane gave
doing
you
what
the
Frank never did, and that's coach a team to win,
Our
regardless of the
practice squad-
peaches around it.
Our practice squad running back went off. Our practice squad wide receiver went off.
Cornerbacks.
And you know what? You can say, well, you guys
Corners.
beat
linebackers.
You can
Yeah.
go ahead. Guys can go ahead and say, hey, you guys beat up on Pittsburgh without their starting quarterback. That's fine. We beat them up
We
without
didn't
our
have
starting
nobody.
quarterback.
Yeah.
And guess what? We beat up your starting defense.
And that's a
Yeah.
top 10
So I
NFL
can't-
You
defense.
can't reason with
That's top
casuals,
10
man.
defense. So
We're
it
It's a
don't,
top
it
10
is.
defense.
it don't really matter to me. I mean, if we make the wild card, I saw the schedule. If we made the wild card, we were playing Miami at the end of last week. That was what the schedule
We'll beat
looked
them
like.
too.
And
We'll
we'll
beat them too in
We'll be saying
Miami.
that right now.
And we'll hold
Tennessee-
Tyree.
Yeah, see, I was about to say
We're winning that game.
the only team that I don't want to play is Miami.
Is Miami.
because that's the only team that I think that
Tyreek's
might
gonna have
beat us just
300.
because
They
of-
put up they put up
just-
100 on us.
I mean, I think if we can knock the hell out of Tua, like if we can get to him in the backfield, I think we could beat them. But
I
I
completely
just
disagree
don't
with
want to
y'all.
play. I just don't want to play against their weapons. But I
I'm
think
sorry,
anybody else,
no.
if it's Baltimore,
Y'all are
if
saying
it's
no.
Kansas City, if it's Pittsburgh, if it's Jacksonville, if it's
we have a
anybody
chance
else, I
against
would rather
anybody.
play. I just don't
We-
want.
Raheem-
Miami is the
Raheem
only matchup
Mostert
I
would-
don't like.
Raheem Mostert would run all over us.
Nope, he wouldn't.
Then we-
Because Miami can't win.
Out.
They don't know how to
Time out.
win. Y'all have not
Time
seen
out.
them. They don't know how to pull it out and win. No season.
Time
These
out.
last 3
They've
seasons,
not-
bro, they don't know how to win.
They've not beat a good team this year, but
Thank
I'm going
you.
to go back. I don't want to play Baltimore.
That's the team I don't.
No,
We
want.
already beat them.
We already beat
No.
them. We already beat them.
We'll do it
We ain't
again.
beat this new Baltimore.
We'll do it again.
offense. No.
Yeah,
What
we
new
are.
Baltimore? They lost
No,
Mark
no,
Andrews.
no,
We beat
no,
them
no,
with
no,
Mark
no.
Andrews.
Matt Gale hit
Homie.
8 field goals this time.
Homie, I feel like Baltimore's gotten way better since that loss.
They have.
Like,
And
to
we
me,
haven't. And
I'm
we
sorry.
haven't.
We
I'm sorry, but
have,
the only team in
We-
the NFL right
we
now that
have,
I don't want to
but
face
they're the-
is
they're the-
Dallas.
they're the only
Yeah, or San
they're the
Francisco.
only
Who- who'd you say,
AFC
Matt?
team that I
The only two teams in the NFL right now that I don't want to face is Dallas or San Fran.
Literally.
Anybody else?
That's
I'm
fair.
down to
I'm
play.
I'm
down to
putting
play.
Miami in there.
no.
But-
Y'all just
I mean,
y'all
I
just
just-
watched
I just
Miami
think that-
lose a 14-point lead with one
Tennessee.
It's a week.
in the game.
It's a week to week league, bro.
So
You
why is it not
can't-
applied to us?
No, that's why I said we could play anybody. I
We
just
could
don't want
beat
to see Miami. I just don't want to see Miami in the 1st round
They're the
because I'm
least
like,
desirable.
there's-
Yeah.
yeah, like that's my least desirable. And look, I'm saying I think we could beat Baltimore again.
Air
Dude, I-
Patrick Mahomes would have to
Air
play a road
Minshew.
playoff game.
Air Minshew.
He, Patrick Mahomes would have to play a road playoff game, and he's 1-3 versus the Colts. The Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously, we need to beat them. But if we play
Hey,
them
he's
at
1-3
home,
against the
we can
Colts,
beat
but
them.
his one win is in the playoffs.
yeah, exactly. But
Well, we ain't got to talk about it.
hey, but that was in Kansas City. So either way, I'm just saying, like, I just don't like that matchup against us.
I don't-
Because
I
think about how we give up 3rd and 20s and 3rd and 15s. Like Tua and Jalen Waddle or Tyreek and Jalen Waddle would just kill us on every 3rd down. That's why I wouldn't want to have that matchup against them. Now,
unless
I
JT
think
runs for
Samson-
like 500 for like 300 yards and 5 TDs.
He might.
And AR
think-
comes back.
I think the problem would be is we would have 6 sacks. Tua would just be completely dirty, and both
You know what?
Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill would have 150.
Yeah,
Like,
you know what?
It
You know
would
what?
just
I
annoy the
actually-
hell out of me.
Hold on.
Engaging.
Time out. I really like our matchup against Miami, to be honest. If you really look at us all year, we've let their wide receivers go off. Let them do it.
Yeah, but is Miami's
them
O
go.
line any good?
I don't know.
They're beat. Their offensive
Well,
line's beat.
yeah,
Their
they
front
got
seven
even
is
got
the-
more.
They got two. Both their star defensive linemen are out for the whole season.
We lost to Cincy because they beat us with being the number 1 screen team in the NFL,
Yeah.
and they used it against us, and they beat
Yeah,
us with it.
Cincinnati's the
Jamar
number 1
Chase had
screen
24
team in the
yards.
Yes, they literally are. That is their
Matter of
offense,
fact-
the screen.
matter of fact,
because
that
you
puts
got to
us
think.
a-
Hold on, you got to
Yeah.
think. Joe Burrow couldn't move.
No, true.
So when they were bringing pressure, he was throwing screens, and then Jake Browning came in, and they were like,
Same
"Oh, let's
thing.
build this guy's confidence." Screens.
Let's not let
So-
him get killed too. Let's
I
run
mean,
some
hell, if
screens.
it works, it works.
And so
But
they
this,
literally are the
um,
number 1 screen team, and that's how they beat us. So
They pulled
that
the old
comment
Andy
that Matt
Reid.
just brought up about the Bengals bring us perfectly and segue into this next comment here. Dave Stewart was saying we can't take any opponents for granted. Every time we do, we get our ass beats.
That's facts.
So
It's true.
that I actually, Dave, I think that's why last week I believe was perfect for us. I don't think any of us really panicked in the group chat last week. All 5 of us here on the screen, but I think all of us kind of looked at that and said we thought it'd be pretty crazy for us to go undefeated to close out the season. And I think that Cincinnati loss hit us at the perfect time because then it put everything back into perspective. Where you look at our offense the last few weeks, we scored over 20, but our defense or special teams was like half of those points each and every
Yeah.
week.
Here's the
So
thing
the
that
fact that we come out and lose that game to Cincinnati and they punched us
And
in the
here-
mouth, we didn't have it. We come out
Yep.
here and do this to the Steelers. I think that was the perfect time for that loss and for us to finish out.
Yep. And here's the thing.
I
Here's what
agree.
I noticed today that we didn't do last week was throw the ball down the field.
Right. We
So-
pushed it vertically.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we
Like-
went back to throwing the ball down the field. We didn't do this whole, the field's only 15 yards deep. We were throwing the ball. So
Well, I will say this. I also feel like Pittsburgh wanted us to throw him deep because they essentially, before Michael Pittman went out, he was getting doubled most of the game. Like he was getting shadowed with Fitzpatrick and then Porter Jr.
But he was
And
beating
then-
still.
Right. And then once he went out, I really feel like Tomlin brought it up. Well, we got to make some personnel adjustments because, the original guy who essentially how you shut down, in my opinion, how you shut down the Colts passing game is you take away Pittman Jr., don't let him go deep or don't let him work over the middle, and then everything else is easy. But offensively, I felt like we gave Pittsburgh a challenge because they didn't have anybody to key on because they were hurt.
Yeah.
So I like this comment. And I like that we brought it up. Let's talk coach. Shane has the boys playing better than anyone expected, and still nobody in the league sees us.
I'd rather it to be that way. I'd rather it be that way.
Yeah.
Because
Now, I will say, at the end of the game today, Rich Eisen was the first commentator I've heard to actually like give us some fucking credit and be like, why are we talking about what went wrong with the Steelers? How about let's talk about what the Colts just did? Let's talk about how they're in the playoff hunt, how they're winning games right now. Like, let's talk about that. I was like, you know what, dude? Thank you. Finally, a little bit of recognition and not, oh, the other team sucks. Hey, we just did that to them. And that's all credit to Shane Steichen, man. He's complete 180 for this team.
I'm 1,000,000% with you, Trev. Like Damon said, I do like to be a little bit under the radar, just because we know the cardiac Colts will always come for us at some point. But you get to a certain extent as a fan where you just want to hear somebody recognize your team for what they are. And when they held up the little graphic, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, they showed the Indianapolis Colts in the playoffs on one graphic. Then they showed the Buffalo Bills, the Denver Broncos, the Houston Texans, and one other team was on there.
I shared that graphic.
And they said,
I shared that graphic, and they said why? They said this is reality or something like that, and they're like, why? We beat Houston already.
Yeah, they pretty much were having a conversation about it when I saw it, and they said, which one of these four teams will make it in? They were basically just like saying Indianapolis is going to fall out no matter what. Like they aren't going to stay in. And I thought that was majorly disrespectful because of the fact that we've been playing well, and obviously we weren't beating good teams at that point in time. We were just beating.
It doesn't matter, bro. You beat who's on your schedule. It don't matter
exactly
if they're good or not. Like I hate when people use that excuse. Like, oh, they play
100%.
bad
Well,
teams.
yeah, they all said Miami was a Super Bowl contender, and they didn't beat anybody
this year. We've beat
good teams win
this year.
ugly games.
The crazy thing is that like we beat Baltimore, we beat Houston, which everybody's like, oh, Houston, they're choking on them dudes over there, and we already beat them. You know what I'm saying?
They choking on a popsicle.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't forget, we were up 21-0 at Houston with 11 minutes left in the first quarter, and we lost our quarterback.
we lost him at 14 points. We lost him at 14 points, and then Gardner came in and went off.
Yeah, and also to Matt's point, just like saying that, like we've been favored in 5 games this season, we've won all 5. And then if you think about all the other games that we weren't favored, we were still winning against teams that everybody said that we were going to lose against, including a lot of the people who might have picked the Steelers. So that's why I just found it as majorly disrespectful.
There's only one game. There's only one game we've lost by double digits. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was
and
the
it was
Bengals
Cincinnati.
Game. Yep, that was the only game.
Every other game.
We've been in it.
Actually, we lost double digits to Jacksonville twice, and then Cincinnati.
Wow.
Everyone else has been by.
We're used to that. At this
Yeah,
point,
but those are the only I didn't feel like we actually got whipped versus Cincinnati.
No.
Like the only two games all year that had truly I felt like the better team won and we got our cans kicked in were those Jags game.
I agree.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree because I feel like Cincinnati
we were close in every game, but I felt like Cincinnati came down to Shane's inability in play calling, being too conservative. That's why I put more so that
we
loss
beat ourselves.
Right. I feel like more so that loss was put on coaching than I do anything else. But I felt like we were truly outplayed only in the 2 Jags games all year. And that's my opinion.
I think Shane was outcoached in week 1 in that Jags game. He definitely was, because that was the game where we were winning. We were winning that game.
Yeah.
And he went into the 4-minute offense and like halfway through the third quarter.
That's right.
And that's when Jacksonville ended up
And
coming
see-
back. They came
Yep.
back on us and then went
Thank
up
you,
10
Matt.
points. So
I
that game,
forgot, yeah.
I will say that he was outcoached, which was his first game. So I think all of us gave that a slide. But then the second one, I think, we got beat execution wise.
Yeah, see, that's why I
Yeah.
disagree with the one that with the losses to Jacksonville, because of the fact that Matt just brought up great points. And I thought that
Yeah.
the Cincinnati game, I thought they came in with the team that was more hungry, the team that felt doubted, the team that came out
Right.
and punched us in the mouth, and we didn't have no response, and then it just snowballed from there. When we faced Jacksonville, we held Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. Their offense had like 180 of total yards on offense.
Yeah.
We had 4 turnovers by Gardner Minshew, 3 interceptions and 1 fumble. That was a
Just kept
one-sided game where we
Yeah.
lost that game. I didn't feel like that was getting our ass kicked. I felt like that was just one side of the ball failing. Then, just like Matt said, with the comeback against the Jags in week 1, we were up in that game, and then boom, 2 quick turnovers, and we fall out of the game. So I didn't feel like either of those games we got whooped outside of Cincinnati. Cincinnati was the only game where I felt somebody came out, punched us in the mouth, and we were done. That was it. Like, even you look at this Steelers game, we had some miscues. We start down 13-0, and what do? Come right back at you. I felt like there was one game
Flip the game on its head.
I felt like there was been one game, Cincinnati, all year where somebody's came out and punched us in the mouth. I mean, obviously we lost some games, but I felt like that was the one where somebody actually handed it to us.
I want to echo the sentiment you made earlier of how that came at the right time, because I think as much as you hate to lose.
You listened to the
obviously.
Colts podcast this week because they said that all week.
I don't even know which one that is.
No,
This is
what
our
did,
podcast.
Marco listened to it. That's
What
why
did
he said
Venturi
that.
talk about
Bro,
this week?
I got the
okay.
memory of a peanut. I wouldn't hear nothing from nowhere and remember it.
Well, no. I was just gonna say though. I was gonna say it came at the right time because it's been a couple weeks now that I felt like our offense was not clicking how it needed to be, but we were still winning games. Like ever since the Carolina game, we won handily, but like the offense didn't play that well that game. New England, we win the game. Offense didn't play that great. So it's like it was a couple weeks in a row that we were kind of getting away with it. You know what I mean? So then to finally have it kind of blow up in our face, and then obviously they took off and it just snowball effect, and they won by double digits. I think we needed that kick in the butt a little bit to where now we turn around, we have a game like today, and hopefully can carry that forward into Atlanta.
I truly think we looked at Cincinnati and just forgot about the fact that team is completely loaded. So we looked at it like, oh, Joe Burrow's
out. Yeah.
And, we should be able to stop
But
Jake
that team
Browning.
is a bunch of fucking dogs, dude.
Yeah, at the same time, Jake Browning just had a lot of supporting cast around him that he didn't have to do much. All he had to do was dump the ball off, and Joe Mixon's running dudes over, and our guys just forgot how to tackle. So
I hope our
ultimately, we
team
got
didn't think
outplayed
that
that
way.
game.
Yeah, I hope our team didn't think that way, but me as a fan, I for sure thought that way.
Yeah,
I did
we
not.
talked
I
about
did
it on
not.
Saturday.
Yeah, I did not think of that Cincinnati Bengals team as a team with a great roster. Like, I didn't think about the players on the team. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I was thinking
We
of that
forgot
team.
about Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe
Man,
Mixon.
no, I mean, like, I remember those
You
guys.
know,
But, you're thinking without Burrow, you're thinking
how
they're not
going
to be as good as they are. But at the same time, you got to think about these guys are elite. So they just need somebody to put the ball in their goddamn hands. So as long as the quarterback ain't Mitchell Trubisky, they're gonna be all right.
and you're really seeing what Cincinnati could be, right? Because Cincinnati with Joe Burrow this year has played pretty bad because of his injury. So if he was completely healthy, that team is the best team in the AFC, and I'm not even debating that.
Exactly. So I completely slept on Cincinnati. I mean, I don't want to say completely slept, but I just did not see them as one of the teams that could still keep going after Burrow went down. Did not see it coming.
Go ahead, Zach. Hold on, Zach was
Zach.
trying to say something.
Wait, you're saying, Matt? I was just asking. You think Cincinnati would be the best team offensively in the AFC?
No.
Roster.
No, he meant with Burrow.
With Burrow.
With Burrow.
With a healthy Burrow, I think Cincinnati is the number one seed in the AFC at the end of the season.
I agree. Okay.
I mean, that's what we had in our predictions anyway. So
yeah.
Well, I had the Ravens, but I got outvoted.
I think it's close. I think Baltimore and Cincinnati and Miami.
I think Baltimore is just they're doing what we're doing. They're taking advantage of their schedule getting easier.
Yeah, I don't know because I kept saying that about last year when Cincinnati beat Baltimore without Lamar Jackson. I've always thought that Baltimore was just an unhealthy team, and that's why I was there with it. And then seeing what's happening in KC right now with their receivers, I just thought that like even for us to predict the bracket that far, I just thought that it was the Ravens because of health.
I will say we were right on the whole Buffalo Bills situation. So
actually, yeah, I want to go back to that
about that.
I think I had debated with you about because you had said Buffalo had peaked and they were going to have a down year. I was like, I don't see that.
Fully said that. McDermott. I said McDermott would fumble the bag.
Nail on the head. Yeah, you were completely right.
I would love to go back to argue with some Bills fans and Panthers fans. I would love to rub it in their face right now.
And Chicago. Or no, we had Chicago completely wrong. I
mean, they've turned it up a little bit lately.
I think we had them finishing around 8 wins, and they're at 5 right now.
I had them at 8. I had them as the winners of that division.
I never had.
I know. Or no. We had them as number 2. I think I had them as number 2.
Yeah, we had Detroit.
Yeah, we had Detroit. Detroit and Minnesota were.
No, we had Minnesota last. I think. Yeah. Or no, Minnesota third. They were above the Packers.
The only reason why I just went
the Packers
with Buffalo
stepped it up too. That division doesn't look like some scrubs either.
I just said Buffalo
They're all playing
was going to be trash because, well, it's Buffalo. They can't win consistently, man. I mean,
they got Dallas.
They were going to be trash because, well, it's the city.
I will say
Buffalo. Outside of the wings, like
I will say that we hit it. We hit it on the head with the AFC North because if all those teams were healthy, I think we had all those dudes above double-digit wins. Every single one of those teams,
except for the Buccaneers, dog. Bucs fans hate us.
The AFC North. I said the AFC North.
Okay,
and complete opposite.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, all of them are literally like in the playoff hunt.
Yeah,
and they're playing with backups. So
it's
Baltimore.
It's ironic too that like for years now, Baltimore is always like the team that's not healthy and everyone else takes advantage of them. And now all 3 of the other teams don't have their quarterbacks and they're all injured and Baltimore's just rolling for once. So it's like everything's flipped in that division.
I actually think it, I don't know, man, because I remember Cleveland being that team that had all the issues.
I mean, like last year specifically, like Lamar was out and like obviously like since he beat him, like everyone. It was like Baltimore probably should have been that team, but without Lamar, they weren't. And now you're seeing that happen to Cincinnati, seeing that happen to freaking.
They had a Pro Bowl quarterback last year.
Yeah, I mean, well,
hey, if this was college, Baltimore would have been voted out last year because their quarterback got hurt. The Bengals would be voted out this year because their quarterback got hurt. So
Cleveland been voted out because
we would have been voted out a long time ago.
So.
No, because our quarterback got hurt at the start of the year, so we would have been like,
it's okay.
We would have been like that Ohio State team with Cardell Jones in them that went all the way down to like their 3rd string quarterback and made a run to the playoffs. So.
JT Barrett.
Devils win 6-3.
We'd have been the opposite.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
But I know we obviously don't play tomorrow anymore. But any expectations?
I just looked at the picture Damon sent in the group chat.
MPJ's all good.
Yeah,
or he says he is.
Yeah. See, like I said, so I'm pretty sure he'll likely be cleared from protocol probably by like Thursday or Friday. Would be my guess. But any expectations or anything you guys would hope to see from next week? Just peeking ahead a little bit versus Atlanta.
Oh, let's go ahead and peek a little bit because next week we all agree we were going to take next week off.
Christmas.
Yeah, for it being Christmas. So, what I want to see, I don't know, man, to be completely honest, because I haven't even broken down this tape yet. So it's kind of hard to jump right into it.
Right.
It's like 3 games in one.
Yeah. Just win. That's really, I don't know. Ritter's trash. We can force some turnovers there. So
yes,
I really expect Nick Cross to be forcing some turnovers. Zaire Franklin's going to feast. I think we're going to get a bunch of sacks. I think it's going to be a 6-sack game, to be completely honest, at least against Ritter, because Ritter likes to hold the ball extremely long, waiting for London to get open. Kyle Pitts is going to get shut down by Kenny Moore. I don't know. I think we're going to struggle offensively. I don't think we're going to struggle defensively.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I don't know. I have a hard time saying we have a 6-sack game just because that O-line is actually pretty good. It's just
Yeah, I was
Ritter
just about to
consistently
say.
fucks up. Like this guy, Chris Lindstrom, I think his name is. That dude's a dog, man. Like their guards they
That's
have.
that's their left guard, right?
Yeah, he's
like-
their guard. Both of their guards are really good, but Lindstrom
Yeah.
specifically is a fucking dog, man. I mean, like arguably on the same level as Quentin Nelson, and no one talks about this dude. I only really learned about him recently because I listened to an interview and I started watching him play. I'm like, wow, that guy's fucking good. So I don't know if we're gonna have the sacks that we want, but I'm hoping we can stuff the run game and not let Bijan cut us up. I'm sure he'll get his receiving, in these little wheel routes and everything. But
Touchdown, Detroit.
Detroit score again. Hell yeah.
21-0. Get them off our
Man, it's tough just because you don't know who's gonna turn up for them just because they're so weird about like how they scheme up their weapons or if they scheme up guys at all. So you almost don't know what to expect. But I agree. I expect us to play well defensively. I'm more worried about our offense against that secondary than anything. So ideally, I want another big running game because I'm worried about Minshew throwing some interceptions against that secondary.
Totally agree with Trev on this one. That offensive line is good, so I also wouldn't predict a 6-sack day or a big day. I think it'd kind of be pretty evened out. I think with Ritter holding on to the ball, I think that's something for us to take advantage of. Hopefully, we can keep them in more pass situations than run. Again, agree with Trev again about their secondary. I think that secondary is one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league. So Gardner Minshew needs to have a perfect game working down the field. Obviously, if you're going to take some deep shots, be smart with the ball, don't turn it over. I would say probably the biggest thing for us is just going to be to keep continuously making the smart and right call in scoring situations. As we all discussed in the chat, talking about going forward in certain situations or not, or just taking the points and whatnot. I think getting down to the stretch, I think knowing when to take points and knowing when to go for it and stuff like that is going to be really key for us. And just hopefully Matt Gay bounces back. I think I told you guys, I think
Could
a lot
be
of
a
those
big game
kicks that
for him.
I think a lot of those kicks where we didn't go for it, where I kind of felt like we would or we should, I think those were just more confidence boosters for Matt Gay. So it's going to come down to me for turnovers. Obviously, keep running the ball to the way we did today. I don't want to see another game where we don't run the ball like this or consistently as we did today, or efficiently as we did today, and then Matt Gay getting it rolling because you need a kicker in the playoffs. So we need to make sure you're right.
Hey, so after the win today, or never mind, we're still playoff picture hasn't changed yet.
Yeah, we're still the 7th seed.
Like, take your points when you can get points. There's nothing wrong with being conservative at times. So,
Got to feel it out, yeah.
At times.
What about you?
Zach want to see you conservative with points. He don't want to see you conservative with plays.
Like, if you're in field goal range and you got a 7-point lead, take that field goal, man. There's no sense in going for it. But I don't know. I feel like we gave, like DeMarco said, we gave the Steelers 13 points.
We did.
Like,
telling you that we could have really, they could have had me crying if we would have blew the Steelers out like 43-10.
Yeah, like we should have that game. We gave them 10 points. So like, if we hadn't necessarily gone for that field goal and missed it or doing whatever we did early, because I feel like that our roster's not built for that yet. We're not built to be hyper aggressive like that yet. But
I can't wait to get AR back, man, and see how explosive this offense will be.
Right.
Ugh, it just gives me chills.
Just be smart with it. All right, y'all. I'm getting off here. I'm going to bed.
All right, man.
Time, old man.
I'll
say two, man. I'll say two. I think I don't know if it's a bold prediction, but I think Juju or Jalen gets a big pick tomorrow because I foresee Ritter trying to force it to London, like we talked about earlier. And I think one of our young corners gets a big confidence booster picking off his slow ass.
I want to see tight ends get involved because that secondary is pretty sharp, and I think they can isolate some of our guys. So I want to see the use of Josh Downs in the flat because I've kind of seen us move away from using him the last couple weeks specifically. I don't want to hear injury as an excuse, bro. Like, we can use this man if he's on the field. He wants the ball just as much as we want him to have the ball in his hands. So continuously run the ball, let the front four let our front four get to work, and then attack the flats. I think we're going to have to do that within the tight end game and Josh Downs. So
I wonder if, to Damon's point about the not using Josh Downs as much, I wonder if it has anything to do with the knee. Maybe not trying to give him
nursing.
much.
But why put him out there then?
I know, but remember when he first came back? Remember when he first came back? He said, "I got 15 plays for you, coach." So like, I'm just wondering because I see no reason why Josh Downs isn't getting more touches. But I just want to comment on that because you brought it up there because I thought that was a good point.
Merry Christmas, Dave.
For him. Yeah, Merry Christmas, bro. Also, we mentioned it earlier, but next week we will not have a show as we prepare for Christmas with the family and everything. So we wish a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody that's watching.
Absolutely. And just want to give a shout out to ZTV. I don't know if we did that in the beginning. I wasn't here for that, but shout out to ZTV. Our guy, forgetting his name. Goddamn it.
Joey.
Hey, Joey. Jeff.
No, not Joey. Yeah, Jeff from last week for coming on with us. Shout out to you, Joey, as well. Just so everybody knows, Matt did get it set up for us so we're on Instagram now. We're live on there. So if anybody's a big Instagram user, you can catch us on there now too. We're on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, and then YouTube, as always, Spotify and Apple Music or Apple Podcasts. So go check us out on all those platforms. Appreciate everybody who's come in and stuck with us all the way. And if you can share, subscribe wherever you're at, and keep it going. Merry Christmas to all and Happy New Year.
Happy Hanukkah,
guys, and great win for our Colts.
Yes, sir.
It's always go Colts.
Go Colts.
Go Colts.
Second down, he fakes the Taylor, fires over the middle, completes. Pittman